Hey, gorgeous soul. Kel Gunter here with your Soul Service Astrology update for the week commencing the 31st of January 2022. If we've not met, I'm Kel. I'm a 13-sign sidereal astrologer, and I'm also the creator of Soul Service Astrology, which is a program to train you to become an astrologer. But in so doing, it also brings you back into a beautiful, heartfelt connection with our celestial neighborhood, aka our solar system, and our ecological selves, so that you can create the life and the business that you desire to be leading in beautiful, harmonious connection with the natural cycles. And that's really what sidereal astrology is. 13-sign sidereal astrology is observing the celestial neighborhood, the solar system, via astronomy, and divining meaning from that to provide opportunities for our experience this lifetime. And that's the power of our environment. We are so deeply interbedded and wedded and interconnected with our solar system because we're born with it and our planet, that for us to come back into that beautiful ecological connection, we need to be observing it and noticing it. And that's what the problem has occurred with the majority of modern Western astrology, is it has separated itself from the natural cycles, other than perhaps the seasons in the Northern Hemisphere. So that's why I would really encourage you to inquire and listen to what I have to say in relation to sidereal astrology, and see if it will change your mind and allow you to come back into a more observational connection with the environment and with the actual planets you can see in the sky. So without further ado, let's take a look at what's going on in the skies for the week of the 31st of January 2022. You should be able to see that chart on your screen, but I'm just wondering where my little animation, there it is. All right, so we have Monday up there. Now, there's nothing particular that I wanted to talk about happening on Monday, but what I did want to talk about was that we have just gone through really a significant period of time, about 4 weeks, where there's been a lot of Sagittarius energy and there's a shifting into Capricorn energy. But we still have that lot of Sagittarius energy. So just a reminder, if you haven't listened to all my other videos from the previous month, Sagittarius energy is really quite liberator energy. It wants to liberate us towards our freedom. And to do that, it has to liberate us from our limits, particularly our ego-held limits. Now, we put limits on ourselves, and sometimes they aren't our fault. It might be that the environment that we're put in, what we're raised, our culture and our society. But Sagittarius energy is always asking, what if? What if we just go down this path a little bit? What if we inquire down there? So the last month, I certainly hope that you've had an opportunity to have a rest, have a break, have some fun, because Sagittarius energy is quite fun. It's very curious, joyful, jovial. And look at the things that you really enjoy. Like, am I doing what I really enjoy? Do I have a really crazy dream that I would love to bring to life at some point? Because that's the energy at the moment, crazy dreams. Crazy dreams, wild dreams, big dreams, whatever you want to call them. This is really where we get to go beyond what is possible and realize there's no such thing, that actually everything is possible, but we need to have big faith in it. And so that's what Sagittarius energy does. Perhaps you can still feel it because clearly there's still a lot of it around. So that's Monday. I flipped too fast. But on Tuesday, we have a new moon. Now, this is actually really great energy after the month that we've had to now step into a new moon energy. So the new moon is in Capricorn and it is very close to Saturn. So this is quite Capricornian, Saturnian energy. Have I said that right? I've probably said that all wrong, but it doesn't matter. I think if you've listened to me a few times, you know some of the words I stumble over, but that's okay. At least I get my message across and I'm giving it a red hot shot. All right, so new moon is innocent energy. It's fresh energy, right? It's like, look at my new idea energy. I want to create this. I want to do this over the next month. It's that kind of energy. It's like kid energy. It's, mum, look what I created. Honestly, that's what my kids do every day. I need to remind myself that that's what adults stop doing at some point. So allow yourself to step into that fresh new moon energy, right? So that's one energy that's there. Then we've got the Saturn energy there, the Capricorn energy, which is really leader energy. And it might feel a little bit more heavy. It might feel a little bit more serious, because that Saturn energy is likely to inquire, okay, so you've got this new thing, but how does that fit into our mastery? How does that fit into our goals and what we're attempting, the impact that we're attempting to leave here this lifetime? So the opportunity that this new moon presents is for you to merge this energy, because of course they need each other. You can't have a leader that doesn't want to embrace this childlike wonder and innocence and listen to fresh new ideas. And you don't want to have this fresh new idea innocent that's not willing to say, okay, oh, actually, there's the strategic overview. There's my mission, my vision, my impact. Does that idea, does that thing that I want to do over the next month fit in with that? So they need both. And this is a real opportunity now for you to take those wild dreams that I'm kind of hoping that you played with, you were curious with, and you've kind of sort of mapped out. Maybe you wiped your table clean, you're going, okay, these are the things that are going to go back on my table. And this is a really good time to go, this is what's going on my table this year. And that's it. Because I think in our day and age, in particular in the Western system that I live in, there's this constant more, do more. Well, if you can do that, you can do more, you can do more, you can do more. And the problem with over-scheduling and over-strategizing what it is that we're doing is it's not leaving space. Because space sometimes, if you have some core things that you're going to work on this year, and then you have space around it, that's where the magic can come in. That's where new creative ideas can come in. That's where you can keep the innocent happy. You know, you can keep your creator happy. You can keep your curiosity happy. And create something and go, oh, I didn't see that coming. And it just sort of... So I would really encourage you to consolidate down. Make sure that what's on your table for the next 12 months fits in with your overall vision, mission, impact strategy. I know I'm using very Capricornian words there, but it's called for. It's Capricorn and Saturn, right? And you can set an intention this new moon to start one goal. Wow, wouldn't that be awesome if we could all just, one goal, this is what I'm doing this month. I'm going to take the steps towards it. I'm going to complete it with quality and integrity and mastery and my wisdom. Wouldn't that be lovely? Instead of just being asked, more, be more efficient, be more productive. Now, traditionally, Capricorn and Saturn energy would have been linked with those sorts of efficiency and productivity type things. But I'm trying to move us more back towards this, I'm drawing a figure 8, the spiritual and the metaphysical theory behind Capricorn and Saturn. It wasn't always the capitalist's idea, right? So let's remember this. Capricorn is the magic sea goat. That is not a capitalist. That is very spiritual and magical. So you've got to let the magic in with your intentions. Now, this new moon on Tuesday is also square. So the new moon is over here. Sorry, I didn't show you that. It's square Uranus. Now, Uranus is moving forward again. It's spent quite some time going backwards. When Uranus goes backwards, it's a great time for us to just check in with our vision, our cause. You know, why are we doing this? Why are we here? So Aries is kind of warrior energy. It's, you know, wants to wage war, not war in the sense that you're going to go out and kill people and maim people, but war in the sense of I want to make changes to this world that I see. Now with Uranus there, it can be quite radical and rebellious. So this is now with Uranus moving forward in Aries, it's rebel with a cause. So we've got this fresh new energy over here. We've got our leader and we're consolidating down and we're making sure that it all fits in with the strategy, the vision and the mission. But over here, we've got our rebel with the cause going, well, you got to make sure that it's still working towards change and that it's still working for the greater whole. It's not all about me, because of course sometimes we can get so focused on our goals. For the longest time I resisted talking publicly about goals because there was so many, oh, goals don't work. I'm like, well, across my entire life, goals have worked for me. But goals mean multiple different things. They're not one fixed thing. The problem is you can have all the energy, all the beautiful intention in the world, but if you don't take steps and have kind of an intended pathway forward, aka a goal, you're probably not going to get there. And the reason why we are both divine and human is that we get to work with both matter and energy. And I kind of see that's what a goal can be. And Uranus here is asking you to charge those goals and intentions with the energy of the change that you wish to be and see in this world. Now, a square energy can bring up fear. So it might be that Saturn over here and the new moon and the sun are a bit like, oh, but that's like, it means I'm going to be the disruptor. It means I'm going to rattle a few feathers. Oh, I can't. You know, that's a fear. Like, I have a fear of that because I keep saying that I want to change modern Western astrology back to what astrology was intended to be, and that was an observational science of our environment and our celestial neighbourhood, right? And to bring us back into that sacred connection with our celestial neighbourhood, with our planet, so that we can be ecologically connected, tend to our earth, and reimagine while we're here. So I've just explained to you my vision and my mission and how passionate I am about that. But of course, there's my ego goes, ooh, that's a bit out there, right? So work with any limits that come up and fears that come up with the new moon energy. On Tuesday, I will have a post and there'll be some questions in there that you can ask yourself to work with that energy. All right, so that's Tuesday. Wednesday, there's nothing additional I'm going to talk about. But on Thursday, the 3rd of February, there is something interesting that came up. We have Venus and Mars very close to each other over here in Sagittarius. Now, Venus is moving forward again, so really Venus is in connective mode. And in Sagittarius, it wants to connect for its ultimate liberation and freedom and to have much, much bigger faith in themselves. So this self-love, big faith, love, faith, faith, love. I'm not quite sure, faith, love, something like that. And Mars is there too, which is a very direct, focused energy. So these two coming together the connector is clear on how it wants to connect now and expand into that space. And there's a little bit of sort of that fiery, joyous energy there to go out and connect. And also, first of all, connect with themselves. And we should have done that while Venus was retrograde, right? That was the regenerative cycle of Venus, the regenerative cycle of ourselves, to come back into big love and big faith with ourselves. And then Mars fires us up, directs us, and charges us forward to our new ideas, curiosities, learnings, teachings, creatings, all those sorts of things. It gives us the energy to do. So these two are sort of working together in the same space, which is really nice. I guess if you were to use traditional thought theory, it's the masculine and the feminine, but I don't tend to talk like that. So those two energies are working together to expand us into our faith, bigger faith in ourselves, and to remove limits. Over here we have square energy though. So square energy is limits, it's fear, limiting beliefs, it's perhaps thoughts and doubts, worries, things like that. Now, Chiron is a wound. So we might be driving towards bigger self-love, we might be driving towards bigger faith in ourselves, we might be expanding into something that we're into a particular area of our life that we've dreamed of expanding into. And then we kind of have Chiron over here going, oh, but what about that pain or that worry or that suffering or that wound from the past? How, like, you can't possibly expand into that. Okay, so that's holding you back. That's a limit. So the idea with this energy is that you hear me saying it and you go, oh, okay, so what pain or suffering or wound have I experienced? Now, it doesn't have, I'm not talking about massive wounds. Look, it could be, but it might just be a minor one, a minor pain or a sorrow that comes up, and you realize, oh, that's stopping me from actually doing something, or it's stopping me from falling more in love with myself. So that's some energy that will be around this week as well. So notice your thoughts and your feelings. That's how we work out what our subconscious is telling us. And then you can work through it by moving into higher vibrational states, either gratitude and compassion. Of course, you don't bypass the feeling. You need to feel it in order and listen to it in order to be able to move it, and seek assistance if you need to. I would encourage you to do that if you need to. So that's Thursday. Then on Friday the 4th, I hope I've got the dates right here. I think I do. Friday the 4th of February, Mercury goes direct. Okay, so we've had this huge period last year where all the outer planets were retrograde. So there was slowness and stuckness in lots of areas, right? And then Uranus went direct earlier this year, but then Venus went retrograde for a whole month, and then Mercury's just gone retrograde for 3 weeks. And it seems like this has been a lot quicker, this Mercury retrograde, probably because it fell over the holiday season. And I certainly hope you've had an opportunity to rest, because that's what Mercury retrograde can provide us, a reason to rest. And I want to encourage you to embrace Mercury retrograde as not something to fear and that's going to put a block on your life, but it's just an opportunity to go, I'm going to do some practices that clear my mind. My goal for this year is to come back to practices that I previously learned that focus on presence and that focus on clearing and stilling the mind. So really calming those mental thoughts. And I would encourage you to explore yoga beyond asana, because it is a wonderful philosophy that embraces essentially that as its core tenet, that we're calming the fluctuations of the mind. But find yourself a teacher that it's their culture. So they can teach you all components of yoga philosophy, not just asana. All right, so that's Mercury retrograde. Now, what's interesting about this is notice what thoughts and feelings come up for you and what ideas you have, and you're going to start moving forward on over the next couple of months here now, because in 12 months' time, this is where Mercury will go retrograde again. Okay, so in 2023, the first Mercury retrograde will be in Sagittarius, and this is a taster of it. So there might be some ideas that you're starting to formulate now, but may not eventuate or may need still some additional review and revision and recalibration and things like that next year. And that's okay. Everything doesn't have to happen extremely fast, all right? So just notice what comes up, and now we can start putting things down on paper and start sort of mapping out which direction we're going to go now that Mercury's moving forward. 5th of February, we have the Sun and Saturn are conjunct. So when I was writing about this aspect, a funny little story came up. So I'll attempt to relay the story. Okay, so the creator walks in and says, "Hey, how you going? I've got this really awesome thing that I want to create. Do you want to hear about it?" And the leader's like, "Well, hi, I'm fine. Good. Yes, I'm fine. Look, I really only want to hear about it if it's, in line with what I want to do and what we want to create and the impact that we want to leave. Like, I don't have time to listen to all your crazy ideas." And the creator's like, "Oh, that's a bit harsh. Well, I mean, I can't decide by myself if something, fits in with our strategic plan unless I tell you." And then the leader says, yes, yes, good point, fair point. Yes, I could listen to your idea on this thing that you want to create for the next 12 months before we meet up again. But just make sure that you're to the point and you don't take too long. So that little story that came up for me there between the creator, which is the sun, and Saturn, which is the leader in Capricorn. So that's really our mastery, our expertness, what we're attempting, the impact that we're attempting to leave this lifetime, is that they both need each other. And a conjunction is emerging, so that they have to agree to disagree, or they have to reach a cooperative point. And that little story I told you there is something that, your creator might have this excellent idea, but it needs to recognize that it needs to filter it through the strategic plan. Where are you going? Is this really fitting on the path? And to agree that, okay, and I kind of don't want to waste too much time on it if it's not going to fit. And the leader, on the other hand, needs to listen to the creator, because it might have new ideas and new energy that it hadn't considered because it's so focused on the strategic plan, right? So they both work together. And so that's how you can get them to work together. So perhaps that gives you a little bit of impetus to take a look at what it is that you want to create over the next 12 months. And I think you can hear kind of a bit of a trend for overall this week. We've got our wild dreams, we've got our big dreams, we've got our curiosities and our passions, and they're all sort of coming together. But now we kind of need to filter it through those higher level strategic, the vision, the mission, the strategic plan, mapping out some goals, making sure, as I mentioned, that we're not putting too much on the table, because if we put too much on the table, it doesn't allow the magic to come in. So allow the magic to come in. So that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed that Soul Service Astrology update. If you'd like any more information, and in particular if you'd like to work with me, I do birth chart sessions. You can go to kellygunter.com and check all the details out there. That's it for me this week. Have a glorious week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.